we go. There we are. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Glad you've joined us. Those of you who are joining us on the playback, we're so glad you stopped by. This is one of our intermission webinars on financial wellness. I'm Samantha Steepleton. I'm the Director of Services here at Will Rogers, and I'm joined here today with Stella Gold. Stella is a certified trauma of money facilitator, and she is passionate about helping people define, understand, and reach their financial goals. We are so thrilled to have you here. And I can't wait to jump in and work on what we're going to work on today.
Yeah, I'm really excited and I'm ready to dive in.
All right, perfect.
Cool.
Okay, I will see you in a little bit.
Great. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. How's everyone today? So I really thought it was an important follow-up to have a example of what a holistic budget could look like and be like, because it's very unique per the person. And a lot of financial literacy advice out there, some of it can be just very blanket, like a blanket statement, and think that people might think that there's something wrong with them if they're unable to implement that type of financial advice. And it means that, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your financial situation. You just need a unique approach. So I wanted to teach you how to budget your way to financial well-being. So I am Stella Gold, the CEO of My Gold Standard. I'm a financial educator and activist, and I teach people how to embrace their financial power and agency through financial literacy and education. And I wanted to start off this presentation with some numbers and see if anyone wants to, you know, maybe just jot down some ideas of like what these numbers represent, what they could mean. We have these numbers represent financial pillars in your life. These are numbers to aim for. And yeah, I'm just going to give you, 30 seconds, maybe a minute to just kind of go through and yeah, get curious on what these numbers could mean. And then we'll go through each definition. So there's 15%, there's 35%, there's the number 3, and there's 750. And I actually showed this to my partner, and my partner knows a lot from me, perks of being in a relationship with someone that does this work. And he even said to me, he's like, I actually don't know those numbers, like off, it's not coming to me. And so if it doesn't come, to you, it's all good. We're going to dive in. So just a couple more seconds. Great, we're going to move on. So these financial pillars, there are 4 numbers that you are either going to aim for, or if you are there, great, thumbs up, cool. But this is what I use to just do a financial checkup with my clients. So number 1 is 15%. That is the recommended savings rate of your gross income. And a lot of times I have found that people aren't quite there yet to save up to 15%, and that's okay. The goal is just to slowly but surely get there. So 15% is where we want to aim to be. In the financial literacy world, they say in between 15 and 20%. If you're able to reach that 20%, great. If not, again, just another milestone to reach for in order to get there. So this is the savings rate. The 3 months is the number 3 is the amount of months to aim for in your freedom fund, aka your emergency fund savings. I like to call it a freedom fund because I just like the empowering aspect of it versus planning for an emergency. I rather just plan to have the freedom, whether it be an emergency or maybe, I have a lot of clients that are unfortunately experiencing job loss right now, or they just want to quit their jobs. Maybe, something came up and they just really need to fly home really quickly. They have that money, something come up with the car, stuff like that. And they have that money to pull from in this emergency savings, AKA the Freedom Fund. And 35%, this is a debt to income ratio to aim for. So your DTI, your debt to income ratio, measures the amount of income a person generates in order to service a debt. So that number is what lenders use to determine if you are able to make your payments each month. So if your debt is less than 35% of your income, it means that your monthly debt payments are in a manageable place. So just something to think about. And 750 is the credit score that gives you access to the best credit cards, loans, and interest rates. You can still have a credit score of a 680 or higher that will give you pretty good access, but a 750, especially if you are if like owning a home is something that you envision for yourself, or even like a car loan, the higher the credit score, the better. And 750 is that sweet spot. It's really, it gives you that accessibility to those good rates. Okay. So I wanted to give y'all a profile of a real person. I changed the name and some of the details just to protect their anonymity, but this is someone I know, someone I've worked with, and we're going to say they're Jessica Luang. Jessica is a single mom. She is a part-time UCLA grad student, and she works full-time at the Apple store. She lives in Los Angeles and rents a 2-bedroom apartment, which she shares with her best friend and son. So she received child support from her ex-partner as well. And her goal is to become a therapist and eventually open her own private practice. And she also wants to build generational wealth for her family in the long term. But in the short term, she really wants to take her son to Disneyland. And so I'm painting this persona for you because we are going to use her numbers to map out a budget. So I'm going to outline what she's doing now, what I'm seeing that she's doing now, and some tweaks that I would make and some suggestions. And then I'll go through a tutorial of just how to use that spreadsheet for yourself so you can create your own unique budget for your needs. So let's go through her numbers. Okay, so her key numbers, this is her net monthly income. She makes $2,625. So net monthly income is after taxes and deductions. She gets monthly child support, which is about $300 a month. Her credit score is a 685. Her fixed expenses sum up to $2,960. So these are the numbers that she came to me with. And she does have savings, about $1,000. And her liabilities, so she does have $6,000 on a high interest credit card. And she has about $80,000 in student loans as of today. All right, so we're gonna go through the budget tutorial. Hopefully this will just open and we won't have any more technical difficulties. Let's see. I may have to stop just for a second and reshare. Bear with me. Okay. So there it is. Okay, let's make this full screen. All right, y'all. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so y'all can see a little bit better. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see everything. This is Jessica Luang's intake numbers. So when I meet with a client, we do an intake. I'm just like, share with me all your numbers, where you're at right now. Let's go. So I have her gross annual salary. So gross is before taxes. I have her total net income right here, the additional income. So each month she makes $2,925. So I recall that her numbers, she was spending $2,960. So really just a little bit over her means. These are her goals. So obviously she wants to have an emergency fund, freedom fund. She wants to invest, save for retirement, build generational wealth. And she also wants to take her son to Disneyland. And that $1,000 that she saved was for Disneyland, or is for Disneyland. And then her debt. So these are the student loans. We got the remaining balance here and the credit card. She said that, you know, when she tries to pay off her credit card, she just throws about $500 every month, give or take, to the credit card. So there's no strategy here, really. But her goal is to pay it off as aggressively as possible. So that's why she hasn't been contributing to savings. And then I have all her fixed expenses. So her rent, utilities, she does have a car lease. Her son, she budgets about 500. She doesn't necessarily budget, but she spends about 500 a month. That was something that she mentioned. And then she does have renter's insurance, subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, transportation. She spends about 120 in gas, and groceries, she's estimating about 500. And then she said, on average, she'll spend about $400 on the low end. So 100 a week on things like going out, eating out, shopping, just more fun money stuff. So that's where that number came from. And it's a estimate. So when I look at this and fill in all of this in the spreadsheet, this will tell you what you have in the negative, or it will tell you what you have in the positive, or if you're just breaking even, which is also a fine place to be, to start from. So this is just where she's at. Now, if we go to the second spreadsheet, I just want to make sure I'm good on time because I want to hold some space for questions for y'all at the end. So this is her total, same situation, total net income, monthly income is the same. I always start with savings first. And I did take, okay, she's not quite at the 15% mark, but let's do 10% to both her savings and debt repayment goals. So I split it 5% each. I also have her income goal. So in that Need, Want, Dream PDF workbook that I shared in the first session, that is her want number. If she wanted to continue living this way and spending money this way, she would need to make $71,300 instead of the $35,580. So again, it is a jump, but it is a goal to strive for. And it's something that doesn't happen overnight. So we have that at the top so she knows, hey, this is what I'm working towards. And yeah, so we have 150 the 5% of her gross annual salary, 5% of the gross annual salary towards the debt each month. And what I did recommend that she do was to do if she had access to one, a balance transfer. So you take the credit card balance, if it's under 10K, you can transfer that amount to a 0% interest credit card. Excuse me. But you have to have a credit score of at least 680 to qualify. If you have over 700 credit score, that's even better to get that approval rate higher. And this just buys more time. So because she's paying less than that 500, she's still saving on interest because it's 0% for some is 12 months, some is 18 months. I told her, let's go for the 21-month one. That way we can really just take our time while still focusing on saving. So we can do both. That's another big thing. A lot of people in financial literacy will say, tackle the debt first, then save. But my goal for her was to break that cycle of going into debt. So she did mention that she has paid off debt before, but things keep coming up. And she just has to put all these emergencies that pop up or stuff that she didn't anticipate paying for on the credit card. Okay, and then other things that I noticed was that her son, I was like, well, do we have to spend $500 on the son? Is there a way that we can compromise? And she mentioned that, you know, she does have mom guilt sometimes, so she overcompensates with her money for her son. But she did say $200 a month goes to his extracurricular activities, and that was her non-negotiable. I said, great, let's keep that in. I want to honor that. And the other thing that I highlighted here were things that we could trim. So, you know, getting more creative about groceries. Is there, you know, a system that she can do? She did mention that she ends up throwing out food at the end of the week. So I said, let's be more intentional. Let's plan grocery days and let's stick to a 365 monthly budget for groceries. And because of her income, you know, I did make a note, like maybe she could qualify for some sort of CalFresh benefits, which is California's version of food stamps. I've been on food stamps before when I experienced job loss in the past, and it was actually quite great. I was able to use it at my local farmers market and support local farmers. So that was really, really cool. And the food was great, fresh and healthy. So yeah. And then, so because this is all her needs, I said, you know, how about we do 100 a month? You know, you can have that be for your fund money, because we assessed also, well, what are your absolute non-negotiables when it comes to your fund money? And she said, I just want to be able to go out with my friends at least once or twice a month and do a happy hour or maybe one big dinner, or take her son out to ice cream. That's like another thing that she wanted to do. So I said, okay, I think we can do that with 100 a month, one or the other. So happy hour with friends, ice cream with son, and then or maybe dinner. So that's what I built out for her. And now we'll move on for I'll use the next few minutes and then we'll open it up to questions, because I want you to be able to use this for yourselves. So now that you see where I'm mentally at when I look at these numbers, I'm just going to put in random numbers just so you can, you know, work with this backwards. I always start up here with the monthly income. So I'm just going to put, you know, 3,500. Let's just say 3,500 a month. And you could put your gross annual salary if you'd like. I'll put 60. Additional income, don't have any. And then the total net income, 3,500. Great. So we have that set up. Now you'll see here, because I didn't fill out anything yet, it says that I have $3,500 to work with. So this is what we're working with from backwards. So if I make 60,000, that means that if I want to save, let's start with 10%, just because we're just saying this is a person new to budgeting. So it's 6,000 for the year. That's about 500 a month. So I'm going to put that there before I start doing any other sort of goals. Maybe you don't care about Disneyland, you care about investing, and you want to also save for travel. Maybe you want to go to Spain, Chile, the Bahamas, whatever it is, you just want to go on a vacation. This is where you put in your saving goals. And then debt. So let's say this person has 3,000. If we're doing a balance transfer and it's 18 months, then I know that I'm just gonna round up to 175. I don't have to do the whole 10% or 5% because I get to really honor the time that I have from that 0% interest rate for the next 18 months and focus more on my savings because I don't have anything saved here. Rent, let's say it's 1,500, utilities is 400. I don't have a car, renter's insurance is usually $15. If you don't have renter's insurance, I highly recommend it. Lemonade is great, should be no more than $15. Usually you can get a rate that's like $10. So renter's insurance is awesome. $50 of subscriptions, gas. I'm going to be realistic because this was how much I spent last month on gas. Groceries, I spend about $400 a month. And so, great, I have all my needs met. Now I have $110 left. So that's where we can put the variable spending. And if I see this and I'm like, this feels a little bit too restrictive, you know, maybe I say there's a way that I can decrease my transportation. Maybe I can take public transit and that could save me $100. Maybe for groceries, I can plan ahead more and again, do $350 because I want to have a little bit more fun money. And yeah, experience a little bit less restriction there. Or, so I have $200 for the month, that 60, maybe I just put this to travel, right? So the goal here is just to figure out what you're in the positive about or what you're in the negative about. And if you're able to get to a place where you can give every dollar a job. So that is my tutorial. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oh, and then just before, coming up with a money mission statement, if I found really impactful, this is where you can put your why. You know, why do you want to reach financial well-being and financial freedom? You know, who are you doing it for? Is it for you? Is it for your ancestors? Is it for your kids, your partner? Is it all the above? The collective, you know, that's where we put the money mission statement. That way, when you come on here to do your budget, you know why you're there. So I have one last thing that I want to end on, which is the fact that starting somewhere is better than never starting. I just realized that my screen didn't share. This is something that I share with my clients and with myself. So if you feel overwhelmed or intimidated, I always say starting somewhere is better than never starting. So this is, you know, cheers to a next really abundant chapter of just starting somewhere. Yeah. All right. Samantha, I am ready for you.
Thank you.
Open up. Yeah, questions if there are any.
Yeah, we'll see it. Just anyone who's joined us, they can pop a question in the Q&A. There's an anonymous button, so feel free to use that. And also just you know, we can wait and see if anyone has a question, but just wanted to say, I could really see the importance of knowing like what we are spending each month. You could
Yeah.
see that in Jessica's budget where just knowing like, okay, I'm spending 500 on my son. And
Mhm.
then applying that, what did you say? Oh, give every dollar a job.
A job. Yeah.
Right? So like those dollars that were going to her son, she was able to say, okay, well, I could actually pay down debt or I can save for that Disneyland trip. That awareness seems like it's such so key here.
Yeah. Yeah. She did take him to Disneyland, so that goal was met. So this was like a year ago, Jessica, but her numbers now are very different. But that's the plan that I got her on, and she's really doing it.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, I thought she was a good case study.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's a great case study too. It's like it's a real reminder too that we can pause in the busyness of our lives because like our money, just like our physical health, our mental health, sometimes we put it on autopilot,
Yeah.
right? And we're just kind of humming
Mhm.
along and things can go along like that for a long time. And then
Mhm.
sometimes something happens, doesn't it? Like whether it's in our financial life, our physical, or even our mental well-being, like where we realize like, oh, I need a little more planning or understanding here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love the mission for what did you call it? A money mission?
Money mission statement, your why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, people aren't motivated by just like, oh, I just need to like check these boxes to make sure, I'm good. It's like, well, why do you want to check those boxes? Why do you want to be financially free? Why do you want to have financial freedom? It's usually not about the money. It's usually about time. It's about love, spending quality time with the people that you love, and money just being a tool and a resource to, get you there. And yeah, that no giving every dollar a job is a part of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna do a follow-up question of like, what were some people's money mission statements? But you're saying that a lot of times it's like, I want to spend time studying or being with my kids or traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. Experiences. Like I want to like see the world. I want to
Mm,
or build generational wealth. I want to be the first. A lot of people want to be the first in their family to purchase a home or, very, very big, impactful values. So your money mission statement is really just about your values.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so is there anything before we wrap up, is
Mhm.
there anything you could say to folks like around what you've seen works with just finding I mean, I think even just finding the time to do a money mission statement, because we all know like it can get overwhelming when we're dealing with our finances. A lot of us want to turn away from it and, like I said, put it on autopilot. So do you have any like
Yeah.
suggestions about what people can do there?
Yeah. So I think sometimes you have to just trick your brain.
Mm,
Um, I certainly still get activated looking at my numbers, even though I'm at a place where my numbers are okay. It's just sometimes seeing those numbers can just be activating. Or you make assumptions about, oh, maybe I'm good now, but I might run out, or so you just avoid, or you
mhm,
look the other way,
right.
or you might feel like you just can't catch a break. So it's just, what's the point? But I really believe that, before I used to say like, yeah, just like try to make it fun. I'm like, no, sometimes it's not fun.
Mhm,
Sometimes you just have to trick your brain
mhm,
and just create a system that informs your brain, okay, it's time to look at those numbers. So usually I'll just brew my morning cup of coffee. And once I brew that morning cup of coffee on Sunday, that's when I do my numbers. I'll be
okay,
like, okay, I woke up, I have my coffee, I drank my coffee. Now it means that I go check my bank accounts. So just something that it could even be, doing a walk around
right.
the block of your apartment. And then you're like, okay, after this walk, comes
That is-
checking my numbers.
yeah. It's kind of like
know?
doing, creating like a ritual around it too.
Yes.
You,
Yeah.
and you
Or
did talk about that in your first webinar. didn't
yeah.
you? Yes, yeah.
Yeah. You could like play a song that's like associated with, okay, after the song is done, I check my numbers. Or gosh, something I used to do was I'd just like blast this one song by Queen, and I'd be like, from start to finish, I have to check as many bank accounts as possible and write down, like I make it a game. So
Mhm.
it's just like, okay, like my brain is just in the process of doing the task
Mhm.
and a little bit distracted from the feelings that I'm getting from the task.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
helpful. And we had
Yeah.
one question come in, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
They're asking, we have been having slowdowns since the pandemic and hours have been short. So this probably is a movie theater employee, but I
Okay.
don't know for sure. And what do you recommend as far as budget to be able to survive during these slowdowns?
Yeah. So this is where I'm a very big believer that you cannot budget your way out of poverty, or not saying that you're in poverty, but just that it informs the fact that sometimes if you just don't have the money, you can't budget. You can't budget without money, right? And so if you are experiencing um, a lack of that resource, my recommendation would be to figure out a way to make more money, make more income, whether it be picking up, additional part-time work elsewhere, or getting entrepreneurial, starting something on the side,
Okay.
assessing your skills, and yeah, how you can, cultivate that into an income stream. Um, yeah, that would be, I would start thinking about how can I make that money. And then on the third, or sorry, at the third end, the second end would be to plan for those slowdowns when you do have money coming in. So like that emergency fund and that freedom fund. As a business owner, I go through a lot of ebbs and flows through, some months are really, really great. And other months, I don't really have much coming in. However, I make sure that the months that I do have a lot coming in, I give those dollars a job. So that those dollars job is to help me during the months that things are a little bit slow. And then instead of being stressed over those months, I get to use that time to nurture my creativity instead of try to sell and like get as much money coming in. So, or rest, I'm like, okay, I guess it's time to take a little vacation.
Mhm.
So that would be my advice. If you have access to that need, want, dream toolkit, that is honestly all those numbers in there that you discover through the toolkit that I shared will really support you in what income goal to aim for.
Great.
Yeah.
And then I want to add something and then correct me if I'm wrong, because you are the expert. I was just thinking about Jessica's, how you almost found money in the budget.
Oh yeah.
You're right. You're 100%
Yeah.
right. Like if you're maxed out in your rent and food and all your basic needs, you're not earning enough to meet those. But if you're eating out 3 times a week, you could, during slowdowns, reduce that. Because I think sometimes during slowdowns, we don't always realize we could shift over our behaviors. Maybe we turn off some of our subscriptions, maybe we, but I totally loved that you made that point, because that is a very good point, I think, to make, that you can't, budget your way out of not enough. So, I wanted to add that for folks who are thinking of because I think sometimes what I hear a lot here is people know that what they're earning, but they don't know what they're spending. And sometimes we can find money in there. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes absolutely none. But if we can.
That's a really good point. And to that, I say, why not both?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you have goals. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. If you have the bandwidth, your hours are down, so you have more free time. Absolutely. Yeah, that's super. Well, thank you, Stella.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we loved
Yeah.
having you. And I just want to remind everybody, like our goal for Intermission is to provide our community members in the film industry access to high level information that can make your life a little bit better. You know, we don't have to like, you know, everything doesn't have to change. It can be these small incremental changes, but over time they really add up and they can improve our well-being. So I work in the nervous system, and we've talked about the nervous system here. So we know we can get overwhelmed, but we also know like when we just make small adjustments that things can get better. And we hope everyone here walked away with something. I know I did. I love that. Give every dollar a job. That I'm going to use that if that's okay, Stella.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, thanks everyone. Please join us again. And thank you, Stella. You can watch the playback on our website, and please follow us on Instagram. You'll get updates, and we're doing some lives over there too. All right, take good care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stella. Bye.